Matt Clark here at the new Matt Clark. How are each and every one of you doing on this amazing Thursday? I'm doing great. My girl's doing great. My family's doing great. Hope each and every one of you are doing great. And I hope you're having a great week. If you could please hit that like button, subscribe button, and that bell notification button so you get all my videos when they're new. If you could share with somebody on social media, help spread the message, help spread the word, that'd be amazing. And there's a PayPal option if you'd like to donate, help support the channel. So what's up? I know I said I was gonna do a video a couple days ago, but see my guy beside me, Tonka, my cat, literally, he almost died. I was this close to having to put him down. He stopped going to the bathroom. He stopped eating altogether. And the vet was suggesting that I put him down. Yesterday, though, he made a little bit of progress after getting some shots and stuff. So I went and I got urinary tract medication for him. And he has since gained his appetite back. But he's still not peeing. He did go to the washroom this morning, number 2. Which is a huge sign he didn't do that at all. But clearly peeing hurts a lot, or maybe he can't. So we're not quite out of the woods yet. He's super comfortable right now because he's blasted on gabapentin. So he's okay. He's all snuggled up, laying with his head turned and his belly up. So he must feel decent. But that's what's been going on with me, just so you know. Today I want to talk about the commitments to the street life. Okay, and this is not gangs. I'm not talking about gangs. I'm talking about criminal lifestyle. I always talk about the end game, right? What's the worst thing that could happen to you? Like, what's going to be the result of this life if you keep it up? Or about prison, right? Because obviously I have a lot of experience with that, and that is the consequence of a lot of our actions when we break the law. So that's why I talk about it, to help prepare people. But what a lot of guys don't know is they see the glitz and the glamour of that life, right? Living with no rules, the girls, the cars, the drugs, the partying, the money, but no work, you know? I'm not paying taxes, I'm just living on the edge, you know? And it feels good to live like that until it doesn't. And there's a lot of stuff that goes along with it. Like, you don't just jump into super gangster shit, right? There's a progression. So when you start breaking the law, like I did, where I was breaking into cars and just doing petty stuff to help make ends meet because I was lazy and didn't want to work. I wouldn't say lazy, I just didn't want to work. At the time, I was young and wanted to just live how I wanted to. I wanted to be out all night, sleep all day, and sometimes not come home for weeks, get kicked out of the house, be inside and out of the clink all my life. This is how I lived. I didn't care. I saw a Fed, I ran. I didn't think about it, right? I was always on the run. They put me in a halfway house, I'd take off. It was not fun, except for when it was, you know? Of course, there was nights where I was at raves and I was partying, I was spending lots of money and everything was great. But in between that, it's people's doors getting kicked off, friends being mad at me because their home got raided. It's, you know, inheriting anybody that you're hanging with beef. That's just kind of how it goes. And I wasn't in a gang. The guys I hung around with, some of them were in gangs, some of them weren't. But there was still a code that we lived by. And a lot of people don't understand that going into it, you know. Your homies come first. And that's why the life is so twisted. The priorities are so backwards, you know. You're supposed to be loyal to your friends before your family, before yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I just think a lot of people don't understand that, you know? Like, for instance, you know, you could be with a homie and your homie decides that he's going to do something crazy, you know? And this crazy thing can cost you years and years of your life. And it could be dumb as shit and you don't agree with it, but he just pops off, goes off, and starts doing what he do. What do you think is expected of you? Do you think you can turn around and walk away and things will be fine? Do you think you can stand there and just watch and that things will be fine? Or do you think that you have to get involved because that is what it is? Now, of course, you can be your own man and take off and leave that guy there. But that's also going to have consequences. So you should have never opened the door in the first place. If you hang out with somebody who's in a real gang, then you also inherit that beef and could become a target and have people gunning for you. You have no idea who they are. You didn't grow up with them. You didn't actually engage in the beef with them. But it is known that you are affiliated with this person, and now you become a target. You want to live like that? Your family, what about that? Your family is constantly at risk, whether it's your home getting raided, whether it's your home being attacked, whether it's robbery or whatever it is. If people know that you're making money and there could possibly be money in your home, you could also become a target, which then puts your family in the direct harm's way. Now, when it comes to having a woman or something like that, man, when I was growing up, I can't tell you how many times I seen homies smash homies' girls and then say to them, bro, your girl's a 304. Like, if she's going to let me do it, then don't watch nothing. And that is a lot of guys that are in the streets. That's how it is, man. It's how it is. I can't tell you how many times I've been in a circumstance where I really didn't want to be in that circumstance. But because of loyalty and because of honor, there I was, putting my life, my freedom, and sometimes my life on the inside on the line. Standing with somebody that really, I don't know if they would stand with me if the circumstance was reversed. When you get involved in this game, people are amazing actors, master manipulators, right? It takes a certain type of personality to be in that game, to be in the streets, and to make it be successful and thrive. So a lot of those dudes, it ain't about friendship. It's about money and loyalty, not friendship. Because at the end of the day, they'll out you like that if the money ain't there, if you make a mistake, like, you'll lose your life in a lot of circumstances, right? If you have a friend and he makes a catastrophic mistake in his life, but you're not a street dude, are you going to kill your friend? Are you even going to think about wanting to kill your friend? Like, I can't tell you how many people I know who have lost their lives in the streets. And a lot of those people, it's because of somebody close to them. It's not because of some enemy. It's because of somebody close to them. And if you start being successful and thriving and making real money, then you have to worry about those around you even more, right? Even more. I think in regular society, this is a risk also, if you meet people, there's always a risk that they're not genuine and that they could be a master manipulator. But because it's a much different lifestyle, the consequences and the risks are much less. I'll tell you a story. I've said this on my channel before. I don't know how many people heard it, but I had a homeboy, okay? Now, this homeboy knew a guy in the clink. This guy was his friend, dog, for a year and a half doing time with the man. So they're working out every day. They're smoking. They live in the same cell. They're telling intimate stories about each other's lives. Like a real bond, right? They get out of the clink. They link up. The first day they link up, man sticks a Sh.t in his face and robs him. It's a savage world, brother. People really don't care. If a lot of people found out you had 50 stacks in the closet in your house, there's a lot of people, even that know you in that life, that'll come up for that 50 and not even think twice about it. You definitely have to worry about the feds, but you also have to worry about every single individual around you that you interact with. And if you add addiction into it, it's even worse because they're way snakier. Now, then there's the constant antagonizing by the police. Now, once you break the law a certain amount of times in a certain area and they get to know you, it's a wrap for you, at least for a long time. It's a wrap for you. They see you, they're going to bother you. Even if you try to turn your life around, it's going to seem impossible because they're going to be on you like flies on shit. It just is what it is. And it's difficult to get through. That's why I said I was lucky when I got a federal sentence that allowed me to have a certain amount of years away, where a lot of those feds will transfer out because they don't stay in the same district for 25 years. You know, they transfer all over the goddamn place. So after a few years, they probably won't necessarily remember my face like that, right? Then also you don't have probation. And when you're in the provincial system, you always get probation tagged on, and it is just a leash. It's all it is, just so that they can oversee you. And a lot of people say, oh, probation, plead guilty. Nah, man, probation is the hamster wheel, bud. You're the person jumping into probation. You're jumping into the hamster wheel willingly. Parole is a lot easier to deal with. Probation is a lot easier to deal with in terms of getting violated, right? They'll give you a lot of breaks and stuff, but when you violate, you get a criminal charge, and it adds to your record, it adds to your convictions, and it gives you time. In federal, on parole, when you violate, that is not a criminal charge. That is just a violation. You go back, you do whatever amount of your time from the sentence you have left, and when you finally get out, you get to warrant expiry, there is no probation. So you have a real chance at change. Now, I would never suggest go to federal and do 5 years just so you have a chance at change. If your neighborhood is so bad, the police, you know, the way they deal with you is too hard to deal with, that you don't find you'll be able to have success in that neighborhood, then you need to move. You need to get out of there. Police are no fun, man. They aren't, you know. Last time I was on doing what I was going to do, you know, I was breaking into places. And they were willingly going to let me break into place after place after place after place after place and just videotape me to stack charge and charge and charge at the sacrifice of people in the community. They knew I wasn't dangerous violently. That's why they could justify it, right? Because in the past, I had never had a violent confrontation with somebody, because I'm not going to violently confront somebody when I'm doing a break-in or a robbery. You know, it's just, well, I guess a robbery you kind of have to, but a break-in you don't, right? And I would always flee, right? I'm always out of there because I'm already violating, right? And I don't want to get hurt. I don't want them to get hurt. It's just going to make the time way, 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 way worse. So I just cut. But they were going to let me do it. And the only reason why they arrested me was because somebody came home when I was in a house. That's the only reason why. They would have let me keep going and going and going and going. And I'd be sitting in there right now doing 20 fucking years for break-ins because of addiction, you know. Now, let's talk about addiction, okay? Sure, it feels good to get high. When you're young especially, you love it, right? But it doesn't stay that way. It doesn't. It progresses with everybody. I don't care. You can feel like you have the strongest willpower and you can handle it. And I'm telling you, the big three, number 3, number 4, and the crystal, I don't care, man. Eventually, it's going to get its rap. You might be able to do weekend warrior stuff for years, but eventually, it's going to tie that knot around you. And if it doesn't, you're an anomaly and a miracle. And addiction is not fun. Lots of nights out in the street, homeless, in the cold, man. I'm in Canada, so some nights in the winter here, it can get to -40, -50, like cold, blistering, freezing, deadly. And I'm out running around trying to get high, you know, sitting in ER rooms because it's warm. You know what I'm saying? Or being scared that I'm going to go into withdrawals and starting to get crazy thoughts in my head about doing crazy crimes that are going to land me stupid years for zero money. You watch everybody around you die. And this is if you're in a gang too. Everybody you love or grow up with, your friends from young that you're involved with, are going to start dropping. like this. It got to the point where I was amazed that I was alive. But I realized that I was alive because I kept going to the clean. It was saving my body. It was protecting me. A lot of those guys that I grew up with that were into addiction, they didn't do a bunch of time. So the years of the drugs took a toll on their body, and they started dropping around me like this. It's not fun. You'll take a lot of L's, you know. If you're in gangs, you're going to definitely at some point have a gun in your face, or be shot, or be stabbed, or be jumped, or be tortured, or be kidnapped. Like, something's going to happen. For sure, if you're in the streets like that. And if you're just in the streets doing crime and robbery, maybe you're not in a gang, it's still eventually going to backfire. You're either going to get shot, you're going to get stabbed, you're going to get a hefty, hefty sentence. Or, because you're doing stupid, loose shit, eventually somebody's going to lose their life and you're going to get an elbow. The way it goes, man, the progression happens. Being in that life, being around those people, doing time after time after time, you become one of them. You become the liability to all your friends. You become the one that they start closing the door on and not calling because they can't have you around. They have families, they have kids, they have everything to uphold. They can't do it. You are a liability. And you start finding yourself being really lonely and hang around with people you don't even fucking know. Obviously, I share my stories with you guys so you don't have to go through these things yourselves. If I could snap my fingers, nobody has to go to prison, nobody has to go to jail, nobody has to deal with addiction or death or any of this stuff, I would do it. But that's not a reality, especially in 2023. And I know we all die one day. And a lot of people say, hey, I'd rather die living my life. But in my opinion, you're not living your life. You're not. Life is minimal. The circles you associate with are all the same. The places you can go are limited because of lifestyle. You're not accepted in a lot of places, or it's weird if you're there. People are scared of you, man. Regular people that you're not trying to scare. You know, that's something that always happened to me, whether I was in treatment or just a civilian at work or whatever. You know, people always say that like I'm intimidating them and I'm doing this and that, but I'm just being me. But because your demeanor is so trapped in that, you don't realize it yourself, how you come off, you know? Sometimes I'm just mugging and I'm not even conscious of it. I'm just thinking about shit, you know? And when you have so much stuff built up in your mind that's deep, dark, catastrophic, man, it's hard to forget about it. I'm telling you. This guy, when he got sick, look at him. That shit broke me, man. I haven't been emotional like that for a long time. And I know it's because I don't have much in my life because I lost everything. You know, I have an amazing woman who's super supportive. I love her very, very much. I have a great immediate family. Love them very much. And I have some friends for sure. But I definitely lost a lot of things in my life. And I just didn't want to take another L. Not now. You know, it's been a hard few years, to say the least. But I appreciate you guys rocking with me and staying and supporting the channel, despite the fact that I haven't been as active lately because of what's been going on in my life. But I love you guys, man. I'm telling you, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you guys and the support. Love each and every one of you at the new Matt Clark. By the way, there may be exceptional people who 1 out of every 100 actually lives the life. You know, they actually have success making money. They actually are able to avoid the law for most of their life. Eventually, though, it's going to catch up. And believe me, those people over those years taking beer L's. Love each and every one of you. The new Matt Clark.